So, as I'm starting this video, my cat wants food. I'm gonna give her some food. I don't know if she'll eat it, but if she doesn't eat something, she will bite me or take off, which might be the best thing. So essentially, I feel like I'm lost. I feel essentially that I don't have much to complain about. But you know, here I am complaining about not having enough, not having full stability over my finances. I find that being a musician is very freeing on the one hand, and very, laborious and not very fulfilling on the other. And I feel like my thoughts are just built out of a lot of privilege, in that I essentially don't have much to complain about in the first place. But here I am. I'm what you would call neurodivergent. And I'm 80, I have ADHD. I am ADHD. It's hard for me to really switch between tasks or pay a lot of attention to specific things. One of the things that I find the hardest is carrying on doing something that my heart's not in, or that I don't really necessarily want to do, because it takes a lot of effort for me to do the things that I already want to do. Like, the things that I find enjoyable sometimes are hard for me to find the motivation to continuously do. But there's a part of it where I feel like it seems like the only things I do are the things that only give me wonder. Like, I've tried jobs, I've tried schooling, trying to get a higher education. But, I mean, the higher education was all just about writing and creativity, which is kind of silly, because as much as I am writing my own story right now, I can barely ever get to it. I can barely ever do it. And even when I end up doing it, I've got a few dedicated people who like it. But that's about it. And it would be nice if I could just say, oh, if my basic needs were met, or needs were met, if my basic, you understood that, if my basic needs were met, I wouldn't need to, try to monetize the things that I just do for fun. But, it's like, if I'm going to spend my time doing something, I might as well hit two birds stoned at once or whatever. But I find a lot of these things in society, we're based on how we can essentially be productive, but not only productive, but be productive in a sense where we are clearly rewarded for it. Because I think that if people made a lot of money doing creative pursuits, we might not have as much of a stigma against these lazy and entitled musicians. I say that, humorously. That all they do is fart around and do as they please. And I feel like it's a curse. I mean, so many people say that my ability to make so much music is somehow a blessing or whatever. And, maybe it is. But, it sure would be nice if I could afford the things that I wanted. But then again, it's like, really, do I need much? It's not like I'm trying to be better than anyone, essentially. But sure, it would be nice to be able to afford to go to the store and get pop whenever I wanted, which is really bad for me. So maybe I'm missing the mark. But yeah, getting back on the subject of like doing things that I don't want to do, it's a double-edged sword, really, because as much as I want to be able to help provide for my mom and prove to her that I'm a responsible human being, sometimes even I don't even see or allow myself to see all the efforts that I am doing recently. I've quit smoking in the last couple weeks. I don't drink anymore. I'm having issues with craving for ketamine. Because, I'll tell you, that stuff is powerful. I don't want to glorify anything on this channel. But there's got to be ways that I can feel connected to the world through healthy means. And that's what I'm shooting for. So every single time that I make a decision based on my best interest, that's a step in the right direction. It would be nice to have this YouTube channel blow up, but maybe that's just not... maybe that's just not in the cards right now. Maybe I'm not at the place where it would benefit me greatly. Not that I'm a believer in that kind of, you know, synchronicity or whatever. The kind of stuff that makes people believe in, like, The Secret, or whatever manifestation power we may or may not have. I think that a lot of it comes down to how can we profit other companies? You know, if it's in the cards that we happen to get better at musicianship so that we may have the opportunity and ability to make that Coca-Cola commercial, which is growing more rare as time goes on, especially when AI is in a fray now. I believe that, like, you know, people really, I'm hoping that people really want authentic art in their life rather than some kind of robot algorithm creating something that they're supposed to feel, right? I feel like the whole reason why I get a feeling from music in general is because I know that someone, somewhere, poured their heart into this. Someone was able to create this landscape of sound. And, you know, be it as it may, my ramblings may not be conclusive, or really, in essence, they're not going to, you know, give you that secret tip, that easy step-by-step guide of how you're gonna get all of those things that you think you need. But perhaps I can kind of retain someone's attention for this amount of time, which is almost like asking the world for some people, and just say that perhaps, like, living our lives is something that we're trained by huge systems above us, through the school system, through everything, to assume that our beauty, our existence, doesn't necessarily have that much meaning, or like beauty to it. You know, that what we have is really more important than what we are, which is kind of silly to me. I think even if it seems like ungrateful for me to complain or like say that I wish I had more or something, you know, the experience of the living life. I mean, you're not going to say, I'm not going to say to my cat, because she's whining because she wants more food, that she should be more grateful. She's a cat. So in that essence, as being a human being, whatever we're told that entails, perhaps it entails all of this. Perhaps the value is really just accepting things as they are. But if we can change things, maybe that's in the cards, right? Maybe this is not pushing ourselves, not being so hard on ourselves to kind of fit into a mold or something. I've been working on my budget too lately, which is something that's pretty amazing. And I think I feel like I'm not spending as much. And maybe that's the best thing, really, because I'm not borrowing as much from my mom anymore. And maybe life is more essentially about being able to get by. Just get from one moment to the next, really. Because this could all be gone in 2 seconds. Heck, my house could get hit by an asteroid right now. All of this data, this recording could be not even recording right now, which is very possible, or it could stop. So, I don't know. Sometimes it's good just to chill, be groovy, and improvise on the piano, and ramble about, seemingly nothing important. But maybe it's really important. I guess if you're going to take away any kind of Simpsons moral by the end of this, it's to just stay open-minded, do what you can to move yourself from this moment to the next, and cherish yourself. Be patient with yourself. I'm not going to say things are going to always work out, but you get to decide how things work out, whether or not you allow yourself to feel like you're worthwhile or whatever. But it sure does feel a lot better when you realize that if you can give the world your joy, your happiness, your creativity, that's really all that matters. It's like your intention, right? Your intention is a perfect 7 chord. And I guess that's all that really matters, right? What am I talking about? What do I know? I know, I really like this piano. So, anyways, I'm gonna stop filming. Stay frosty, that's my catchphrase. Stay frosty. Alright. Turning on people. This time, last time I was using the combo piano, and this time I'm going to be doing the Wurlitzer. And a set along the delay, maybe I will have a chorus, depth, and speed. Alright, let's see how that sounds. It's a bit of reverb. So, maybe we'll raise it up a little bit. So, essentially, this is going to be a dreary, boring, maybe not dreary, but definitely calming talking about what I feel in the moment. Because in a world where we're, slowly being edged out by artificial intelligence and I think it's good to kind of have that human element. So obviously I'm not going to edit this video. I'll have all of my mistakes. And all of my flubs. And don't worry, there is a point to this. It's not just me wanting to hear myself talk. Although sometimes that's nice. When you live your life not necessarily appreciating the value that we all have inherently, intrinsic value. It's something that I had a hard time understanding myself, because we tie so much to our productivity, our status, and who we know, and what we have as people, what we look like, the kind of achievements we've made, as if this is kind of like a cosmic show and tell. Well, in reality, it's anything you want it to be, really. Because there are no rules. Well, there are rules. But those were written by people that wanted control and stability. And life isn't about that, I think, anyways. And we're going to look at Stoicism, which is probably one of the best ways to move about this planet, in my opinion. They say that we want to not avoid bad circumstances, bad feelings, bad vibes, but we want to be able to get to the place where we can withstand them, we can overcome them, or at least not allow them to take up so much space in our emotional landscape, really. Because things on the internet have the capacity to stick with us, especially something like negative commentary to our art or whatever. And sometimes we are the ones that are the meanest to ourselves. But when we hear it from another person, sometimes it can really rub us the wrong way. And I think that the number one thing to do is to, with me, I'm working on these things, and they're like symbols, so I don't have to put so much time into thinking about the things that either I need to or I don't need to, think about in the moment. Because, I only have so much random access memory in this big old computer head of mine. And it sounds like close encounters. Anyway. And if I simplify that, I simplify the thoughts in my head. With like different things. The one that really helps me out is thinking about whether or not something is a waste of time or not. And I just think of the symbol of a clock. It could be whatever symbol you want, but it's almost like an impulse, which works well with my ADHD because it's a simplification process. Once I get into the state where I have the innate feeling, or the intuitive feeling, then that picture flashes in my head, that symbol. And if it's in any way what I'm doing, the thought process that I have in the moment, if it's wasting time, all I have to do is let it go. It's like a road sign for me. And it just pops into my head. Intuitively, I'm wasting time. I'm going over the same thing. I'm letting people live in my head rent-free. Waste of time. And then I move on. And that's easy enough. When I think about my schizoaffective disorder, which is a chronic psychotic illness, which can get freaky and scary and hard to deal with. That's why I don't work or have a hard time doing so, because I have tried working with that, but essentially I'm getting off track. I have to remind myself that what goes on in my head, the misfirings and hallucinations that I experience a lot of the time, it's just an internal circuitry. It doesn't have, because that's where the delusions come into play. That's where the paranoid aspect of it comes into play. It's like, since the areas of your brain are lit up where that actually are controlling your perception of real sensory information. That's why it feels so real when someone with a schizophrenia spectrum illness or whatever it is, when they hear it and they have a hard time telling whether or not it's real or not, is because it's the same area of the brain that lights up. So with that understanding, it was freeing for me. And I really understood that with the symbol, getting back to the symbolism, the icon that I would use is like, the arrows in a circle, the repeating icon, and that to me that is like an internal circuitry going on. So I know that it's not intentional from the outside. I don't have like people. I mean, I've met narcissistic people in my life who want to have that little piece of control over my psyche and, freak me out. And that's okay. I wouldn't take their advice for music making, so why would I take their advice for such, beyond the realm of reality, paranormal, extrasensory kind of things, right? It's beyond them because it's beyond anyone, really. So when I think about that, I'm like, wait, like the clock comes into mind. Am I wasting time thinking about this, over analyzing something that I already know the answer to? And then the symbol of the circuitry, the circuit itself. Oh yeah, it's all in my head. Which is kind of like before I looked at it defensively because I was under the suspicion that there was some kind of real conspiratorial thing going on. When in reality, it's just my brain playing tricks on me, which is a lot easier to understand, and it's a lot easier for me to deal with. So there's that. There's like, if I think, is this the time in which, if I'm with another person, should I try to deepen the connection that I share with them? Should I try to offer them the confidence that may help them get through another day? And that's like, I should really be nice right now. That's the heart icon, the heart symbol. And, just symbols like that, symbols. When I think about presence and mindfulness, and mindfully being in the surroundings where I am, like right now, I may be depressed on some level, but if I can really focus on what I'm doing right now in the moment. There's the feeling of these keys. I know that some people may say that the Yamaha Reface EP has like, the micro keys or whatever. They're not the best, but just the feeling. I know it's not really weighted, but they just feel so good. And like the plastic, the glossy plastic feeling, like the sensory. It just, it's a sensory experience, and it gets me out of my head. And that's the next symbol I was going to talk about. It's like an eye. Not the eye of Providence or anything like that, but like, it's to shift my attention. If my attention is right here in on the piano keys, then it's not in my head. It's not focused on problems that I cannot fix. And they all work in conjunction, really. It's all one process. Streamlining the things that I pay attention to. And if that's not, in some respect, overcoming the shortcomings of my ADHD, then I don't know what would be that. Because it's just all working in tandem, all the symbols, all the shortcuts. It's like a hack, right? Not a hack, but a shortcut for your brain. Like you'd be setting up shortcuts in a video game or keyboard shortcuts, which I don't do, which perhaps that would be a cool thing to do in the future, especially for my dog. But yeah, you know, it's like, am I wasting my time trying to solve all these problems, trying to avoid problems, trying to be more than what I can be in the moment? And, you know, you can't tackle everything in life. So instead of focusing on, like, the things that you're not accomplishing, or that you haven't accomplished yet, you know, don't spend your time doing that, because by the time you've accomplished them, you're not going to be thinking about them. So, like, you know, why waste all that time? I mean, it's up to you. You can do what you want, but being present, being like soaking my mind into the sensory feeling of this piano piece. It's just really cool. And being at one with the moment. You know? Having someone, like, I know not very many people are going to watch this, but the people who do watch this might get some kind of a form of connection out of this. I don't know what. During the ramble, might be just the thing that gets them from one moment to the next. And maybe that's all that matters. That's that Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Deadmau5 did a cover of it. Or not a cover, but the song. It's called Closer. It's a cool song. So I think it's off an album called Get Scraped. It might not be. It might be off a different album, but yeah. Anyway. Yeah. That's about it. That's all I really wanted to say. So I'm a time vampire. I've taken your time. And I am done with it. You know, hopefully you feel better about yourself. Looking at my sad existence. I'm kidding, but yeah, you know, just having something to distract you, having something in the moment, just to kind of flow, have thoughts just pour out of you, meander through, like this message. Probably too quiet for me. Yeah. Tune in for more stuff. Stay frosty. Welcome to my ramblings again. I'm here with my Yamaha keyboard that I barely know how to play. And I just feel like I have something to say tonight that essentially when I turn down my piano so it doesn't bother the neighbors, not that much. That essentially I feel like this is the perfect fidget kind of thing device. And it also like gives a soundtrack to what I'm saying, so it makes it sound emotionally resonant. So, what am I going to talk about today? I feel like I've been coming across a lot of videos that have this idea that, and I think this is like very typical of the self-help kind of and spirituality sphere, is that, you know, the title of the video is like, oh, you're meant to see this video. This video showed up in your timeline because you needed to see it. And you can click away from this. You don't need to see this. I mean, and a lot of the time, most videos on YouTube, you really don't need to see. So it's like, what are we doing with ourselves in that time? Like, what kind of digest are we, or diet, informationally, are we allowing to, you know, steer our ship? It's almost like someone who drinks a lot of caffeine like I do, and then just kind of thinks that my body can handle it, or like someone like myself, again, prime example, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I stay up all night playing piano, trying to stay quiet. That's why the video's quiet. But I have to do something. I have to be productive, I guess. And I just think my body's going to be able to handle it forever, right? I'm made out of the right stuff or something that I can withstand any kind of treatment I treat my body with. I mean, it's not really that, it's not really on my mind, but again, I'm losing touch with reality as I always do. Losing the plot. One sec. I need to press this key. Okay, there we go. I'm back on track. What I'm saying is our diet, like people that tell us that we have reached said destination in our life and that their product or their words of advice are magically sometimes towards where we need to be. And that's kind of, you know, if you like that kind of stuff, like, I think human beings need a certain amount of magic and tomfoolery, goofing around, to make life interesting, you know, without spoiling anything or revealing too much of my mental state. It's like sometimes life can be really bleak, and sometimes life doesn't necessarily have an outright meaning. And that's okay. I mean, you may have a different view or perspective on life, but right now I feel just like a biological mass of flesh and bone and all that and sinew that is really being deliberately driven by my own neurochemical reaction to provide myself with dopamine, serotonin, all the neurotransmitters that I need in order to make myself not keel over and want to go places that we're not going to go on this video. And essentially, I really think that, like, if this is all I have, then I might as well enjoy myself. I might as well have some fun along the way. So, like, things like junk food and, treating myself poorly, I almost feel like I can't argue with that perspective of just like treating your body like an amusement park to some degree. But then you have to realize that what we put into our body truly affects how we feel. And that includes information, that includes belief systems that we uphold in our mind. It's like, I think personally, if you have to continually find evidence to suggest that something isn't false, then, I don't know, in my opinion, it's probably leaning more towards false. But maybe I'm way off the mark. I have no idea. It's 3 a.m. and I'm playing piano in an Opeth shirt. And my cat's sitting over there sleeping. If she can sleep, I think other people can sleep. I used to live in a party house. It was the Nightmare on Cedar Hill. And we would play loud, abrasive music into the night. I still was able to sleep, so that was a lot of alcohol, a lot of anxiety and mental health issues, living with turbulent individuals that I love, but, one of them's passed away, but it's a story for another time. I found that as much as I like experimenting and trying different things in life, I think I just delude myself into thinking that those substances are more than what they are. I mean, they're an intense experience, and maybe that's overshadowing their importance, really, because the life, I think, at its fullest and its most awe-inspiring is not about any extreme kind of feeling, any kind of extreme stimulation. Really, that's the stuff that you forget, right? The things that we remember, like say if someone's on stimulants, they don't remember the stimulants themselves most of the time. The feeling that it gives you, the rush or whatever. They think about the conversation they had. They think about the video game that they were playing, that they were doing so well at being in the zone and experiencing, right? Whatever it is, whatever they were experiencing, the memory, the feeling. And I think sometimes even such a light, benign substance like green tea or black tea or whatever, the caffeine that we get from that and other antioxidants and stuff, it's not worth shaming ourselves thinking that we didn't do something perfectly or that we had some kind of a chemical, I guess, carrier or some kind of vessel that brought us to an understanding. It's like, we live in a society where shame is the game. Shame. We think it's the best way to, motivate people for change. A lot of the time, though, that's not the case. Maybe it works for some people, but in my experience, the way I understand the world is by picking it apart and finding the context, finding the reason behind everything, the scientific method. The building blocks, the fundamentals behind everything, how things work, the physics of it. If that is even something I should mutter, because I'm not even really a mathematician or scientist in that respect. But if I understand the mechanics of something, then it's much easier for me to understand it, like a game mechanic. Like, say if you played Call of Duty for a long time, you're really gelling with that game physics, game engine, or whatever. Or you're playing a sport, you're like, oh, so this is how I play basketball. These are the reliable physics, and if I have an understanding of them, then it's really on me when I mess up. I don't know where I'm going. I'm off topic now. Lost in the weeds. Mulligan and a half. Brain fart. But if you're comfortable with that, I think the number one thing is, like, with this, as I'm playing the piano, I'm learning how to use my left hand, because I am a beginner, but The difference between me and a lot of other beginners is that I'm not pressuring myself to play like a specific person. I'm doing it at my pace. I'm finding the, through muscle memory, through discovery, I'm finding out what works. And people have said to me that I learned the hard way. I have to understand something through my own experience. And there's no shame in that. Maybe that's what I was getting at. It's like, some people learn differently. Some people are affected by this chronic societal shame in a manner where we feel it's a personal failing that we do something that society has decided is morally bankrupt or whatever. When, if you think about morally bankrupt things, there's so much worse you could do, right? Drugs are the least morally bankrupt thing, in my opinion. I think that, like, people may, go off the rails and do, regrettable things, but that's not, it's not really them. And the more you shame people in this cycle, the more you'll go back to the drugs, because the shame itself was the original thing that they were trying to get away from with the drugs themselves, right? And that's why it's repeated cycles, because the one thing that they're trying to get away from is what society continuously shovels into their system over and over again. And it's like, it's not fair, really. People, and this shouldn't be taboo, I think, in my opinion. People should be like, wow, you shouldn't have to hide your feelings or your opinion about drugs. You wanted fast solutions. You wanted something that was going to get you out of your head so you could have time to think about it, ponder, and perhaps, then you could look back and change the things in your head. It wasn't a one-size-all solution for all of it. It was just a band-aid for your mind or whatever, right? And of course, the thing that really drives it to being a problem is moderation, right? Some people, they see something that works even slightly, and moderation goes out the window. If this is working good right now, what about a whole bunch of it? And you just forget about, like, time escapes you, and you just kind of go beyond what your body is capable of facilitating. But back to this whole shame thing, I think that, like, morally bankrupt things like abusing other people and having the knowledge that you're doing that, but not stopping, not considering another person's empathy, swindling someone, stealing from them for personal gain in a way that doesn't care about another person's humanity, depending on the person. I mean, that's pretty bad. The poor stealing from the poor is not really something we should aspire to, especially when the rich steal from us so often, right? Yeah, just thoughts of a haywire share mine at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is it 3:30, 3:16? That's cool. That clock is off. Anyways, I feel like that's about enough. I feel like I've rambled on enough. But if you feel at ease that there's another person out there that's as crazy as you, please join me on my channel. There's more boring talks with pianos and all that stuff. There's that third of the counters again. Alright. Yeah, dude. I heard many people don't subscribe to channels. I subscribe to too many. When I see something I like, I immediately like it and I subscribe because I know that has a lot of weight on YouTube. But it's up to you. Maybe you're not in a position where you can like or subscribe, but consider it for the future. I'm going to try to add value to your life, to my own life. Maybe it's just going to only add value to my own life, but maybe this connection, this one-on-one that we're having, or one-on-many, or wherever, maybe it, again, allows you to get from one place to the next. Maybe my insights didn't occur to you. Maybe my insights really resonates with you. I don't know. I can't be 100% sure, but I'm gonna give it to the world because I think it would be selfish not to. Yeah. I hope you have a wonderful day. And stay frosty. That's my catchphrase. Midnight Band-Aid. Out. This off button. There we go. Alright. Right now, I'm facing a kind of stress. Because I don't have cigarettes. And I don't have my nicotine lozenges. But I want to practice my piano. And I want to do another one of these monologue things where I just talk about my thoughts. And maybe perhaps I'll feel more like enthusiastic about quitting, especially when I can see that this is what it does to my nerves. The nicotine, of course, what they call it, nicking out. And maybe this music, maybe even practicing the piano is somehow going to lead to more practicing piano. Because it becomes catharsis. It becomes something and yeah, I feel like a lot of the time in life we've been really sold kind of a lie. And I'm not here to be negative about it or anything like that, because I feel that in order to get further in life, one has to accept where they are first. It's almost like, I guess, a really simplified version of explaining what I mean is that acceptance is like when you're playing soccer. When you play soccer, the best thing to do is not when you're moving the ball around, when you're passing it or you're trying to get it, move it across the field with your feet, which is harder than most people want to admit, especially under pressure. Then you stop it with your foot. When it gets kicked to you, you have to have a moment where you stop it, and then you kick it with the side of your foot to the next person. You pass it in a way that's controlled. And I feel that acceptance is almost like stopping that ball for a second, looking around and being like, okay, this is where I'm at. And then you move forward. It's not like admitting defeat, if we're going to use the same kind of metaphor for a soccer scrimmage or a game or something like that. It's not like giving up and admitting and just stopping moving at all. It's more like stopping the ball so that you can stop and then move forward, knowing that you are calm, collected, and you have evaluated the field. You're not just going off of instinct, right? Because I think most people are kind of going off of instinct, where they don't think about things. They're always in their head, afraid about something. That's why I think there's a lot of people out there who just kind of, I've seen this phenomenon where they just, it's almost like they copy quotes from television programs that they've seen. Kind of like that. But they're not, essentially coming up with, they've created almost a network, a fabric of quotes from TV shows and pieces of media on YouTube. And they're not, deliberately using their mind to think of new possibilities in any conversation or scenario. So they're kind of like waiting for the next hit of instruction or direction from, their media or their culture or their friends or whatever kind of authority figure they follow. And whatever. It is difficult to be creative and to improvise. That's why I think there's a video that I said a while back. I didn't really find a way to properly, explain or articulate myself, but I think I'm getting closer to it now. I think that the idea of jazz is that it's improvisational. If you got sea legs, which is like, that, I'm pretty sure you understand the terminology of sea legs. On a boat, on a raft, or whatever vessel you happen to be on, unless you're sitting down. Sea legs is the ability to hold your composure while the boat is rocking back and forth. And I think that adaptability that you have is one of the smartest, one of the most intelligent forms of capabilities, attributes, skills. One of the best skills you can have is not to freak out when the world presents you with different information, when the world tries to like throw a curveball at you, or you're on the ocean and it's like rocking back and forth and it's undulating and there's no way of knowing, you know, where it's going to go next. You've got to somehow be comfortable with not being able to control where the boat goes. So you kind of just like you just let go of control. The more a person tries to exert control over that situation where you're best improvisation as far as jazz goes is your ability to just roll with the punches, to be able to accept, right? Accept what's going on around you, to stop the ball, to look around, to gauge where you are, but not to think about it, not to get lost in the chaos of the moment. But to like allow the moment and you to be one. Don't separate yourself from the universe around you. You're very much a part of the universe. And you're very much a part of the ocean itself. And the soccer game is a game within you. Because, anyway, I'm getting off track. And like I usually do, but the best thing, I guess, it's like improvisation happens when you get back on your horse as quickly as possible. If that's a game that you want to win, do it now. Get back on your horse. Don't dwell. Don't throw a hissy fit. Don't throw a tantrum. Don't get mad. Don't get lost in emotions. Don't dwell. Don't dwell on something and how things should be and how the world wronged you or whatever. Just get to the next place, right? And it's not like I really care whether or not you are able to do this, but the less you conform to how you're supposed to react by society standards, and how, you know, someone who will essentially be useful in any situation, like that. It took a long time to get around to this point that I was trying to say. I made a video a long time ago, and it was called Jazz is the Universe, I think, or Jazz the Universe or something. Jazz the Universe, because jazz is improvisation. Jazz is not knowing what to do, but jumping in both feet forward and allowing yourself to swim. It's like jumping into or getting thrown into the deep end when you're a kid to see if you can swim. You know, you eventually are able to allow that moment to be as it is, and not try to change it, not be a barrier in between your ability to relax and just like, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? You're gonna look stupid for 10 seconds and then move on. I think the idea of being embarrassed, of like not knowing what you're doing, I mean, when you realize that most people think that you're cooler than they are somehow, either think that, or they think that you're a threat to them, so they have to like externalize that you're stupid or something, or that you're not doing it right. You're not, that's them freaking out. That's them being the antithesis of jazz. And the jazz is being like hearing fucking someone making crazy noise music and then not like thinking, wow, that's absolute garbage. Jazz, the real jazz comes when, and take this with a grain of salt, this is someone talking about the real jazz that happens to be Caucasian and living in Canada. But in my opinion, which you can take with a grain of salt, again, true jazz is hearing that noise music, or hearing even the noise of passers-by and cars and sounds and the soundscapes of the city, the soundscapes of the country, and just allowing that to be like your own improvisational backing track, your inspiration, and being like, you know what, I like it, that's cool, I can feel that, because I know that I am a part of that scenario, and I can participate, or I can fight it and not accept it. And what do we know about war? War is the non-acceptance. To me, I think, if you were to say jazz wars, that would be almost an oxymoronic or paradoxical. Because the best way to adapt to any situation is to mitigate harm. And it's to lift other people up. It's to empower others. Not to, and obviously sometimes certain things have to be done. But I think jazz is a very peaceful, joyous, reveling in the moment. It's a dance. It's a dance with this chaos. No longer seeing it as your enemy, but seeing it as your canvas. Right? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think the universe is a total, the only control you have over this world is when you accept it exactly the way it is. Once you do that, once you've stopped this soccer ball, once you've paused for a moment to look around, like Ferris Bueller says, right? You pause, look around, gauge the surroundings, you realize we're in a sci-fi novel, basically. We're in a sci-fi movie, really. And you can make it as bleak, as depressing, as lacking control as you want. But that really, the people who have the least amount of control are the people who try to control everything, if you understand what I mean. At least that's how I see it. I see people who constantly are looking to manipulate everyone around them. Those people don't get very far. Or they do, but their life is misery. But yeah, acceptance. I wish I could explain to those people that always look to control things that the most pure form of control and the cure to what ails you is accepting, is literally just not attaching yourself to the way you think the world should be. easiest way to describe it is to it's like people who hold grudges, and they're prideful that they hold grudges. That's their problem. That's literally the reason why they feel like crap and why they can't find anyone for a meaningful amount of time to connect with, because they hold grudges. They want to win. They want to overturn that person's experience in their head. I don't know what's. I'm making it sound convoluted, but like, this person didn't treat me the way I'm supposed to be treated. Therefore, I'm gonna let them live in my head rent free for the rest of eternity, and hopefully that is going to be the one thing that makes me a better person somehow, or in control. I don't think it's about being a better person. I think it's about control. But the number one way of controlling the world, and the only way you can see it, the only way you can get past, the conundrum that these people find themselves in, is saying, well, wow, okay, it's not like I'm trying to give this person any more benevolent, it's not like I'm trying to fucking help this person, I'm just helping myself, and I realize it's not fucking helping anyone, it's keeping me stuck, carrying on all this fucking baggage about other people and what the fuck they did. And once you realize that you can, like, move past that, you'll be like, oh my god, why didn't I do this sooner? Wow, act like a total silly little girl. Like, oh, I'm so special, they didn't treat me the way I want to be treated. Oh well, like, who cares? You can laugh at it. I find out a lot of people that carry grudges, they can't really laugh at anything. They don't find anything funny. It's like, who's having a fun time, really? Do you want to have a fun time? Stop the soccer ball. Give up trying to make this person into something that you can manipulate. And get your goals accomplished. You're capable. You are capable. The world is not stopping you. In fact, the world will help you in so many different ways get to where you want to be. As long as you gain that ultimate control. That's the way that you have to see it. Giving up control is the ultimate control. It's a paradox, but it works. Because both are true, right? Oh, well, both, it seems opposing, like an oxymoron, but it's true. Once you give up control of the entire cosmos, you're like, wow, I'm just going to roll with the punches. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I can roll with the punches. I don't have to give a shit about stupid shit that doesn't matter. And then it's beautiful. And life's like, oh my god, everything has a sheen on it. Not Charlie Sheen. No, Martin Sheen. Maybe Martin Sheen, he's cool. But like, maybe Charlie Sheen's cool too. I don't know. I haven't met the guy. Fuck do I know? I don't know. Do whatever you want, but I'm gonna jazz hard as a motherfucker throughout the cosmos as we fly through on this rotating stone, molten, and watery and forested planet. We have so much resources at our disposal, which we do. We dispose of everything. We throw it around, destroy it, make cheap bullshit that nobody wants, just because we want to have more stuff than other people. But Epictetus understood this. He's like, a rich man isn't someone who has a lot of stuff. A rich man is someone who has few wants, or is very specific about the things that he wants, and that's it. He doesn't just look at the world as like a candy store that he's going to gorge himself on of everything, right? You only need a few specific things in order to make yourself happy, and then just be happy, and then just frolic, just do the thing that It's going to make you happy, not because it's getting you somewhere, but because that thing is the point, you know? And I'm trying to explain this in words. I guess that's its own kind of jazz, as folk punk would allude to. Maybe like this, please find the jazz within yourself. It's basically, yeah, the jazz is the force. Let's just put it that way. Reach out with your feelings, you know, and jazz in the universe. Alright, peace. Stay frosty, is what I say. Hello. I'm going to play piano. I think this time I'm going to play... I never do the clavinet, but I think there's a reason behind it. I think it's a bit jarring. Kind of like a harpsichord. I'll do the CP, combo piano. And I'll turn up the reverb slightly. Today we're going to talk about matter, energy, existence, my views on spirituality in essence. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And I essentially, I mean, people are not going to agree with me on a lot of things. And I love that. So, I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to be more comfortable with people not agreeing with us, and, you know, we're not trying to change other people, we're not trying to change the world. Like, seriously, we should be playing. We get told as kids, or at least insinuated, that we are the ones who are supposed to change the world, that we should value the huge pursuit of trying to leave our mark, be a hero, right? We're supposed to be valiant, courageous. But the truth is, most people are not going to have a life that on the surface seems that exciting when you compare it to what we're supposed to value. But really, life is beautiful and incredible. Not because it can, you know, copy the media that we ingest. Not because it's a silhouette of something that we thought we wanted all along. But because it is purely ours to experience. You know? It's something personal to us. It's our life. We get to live it. We get to decide. Once you understand the freedom of getting to decide how you view yourself, all of a sudden you realize that life is a very creative thing. It's a very creative endeavor because of I said this in my jazz video last time, it's all not interpretation, but it's interpretation, but you get to choose really how you interpret things for the most part. stop and listen. But it's improvisation. You kind of just roll with the things that life gives you. Not in like a capitalist sense, where you're like, if life gives you lemons, you should like want to try to profit off of it. No, if life gives you lemons, be grateful. You have a lot more than, if life gives you rusty nails and tetanus or whatever. Like, life can give you a lot of terrible things. I think it's vastly over-optimistic to assume that lemons are a bad thing. Like, if you really think about that for a second. Oh, if life gives you lemons, it could give you friggin' tuberculosis too, right? So that's what people. Oh, how can I be grateful when I have X, Y, and Z bad things happening to me? Because in other areas of your life, you don't have, other things happening. And of course, if you focus all the time on the things that you don't have, that lack, that sense of longing, the void in your life will seem larger and more over-encompassing than you could ever imagine. But that's why we are focusing animals. Not why we are focusing animals, but that's my way of fumbling through trying to tell you that we are focusing animals, and what we focus on is what we get more of. We focus on mistakes, we get more of them. I don't know why it's good for us to being humble is not being prone to mistakes all the time. It's just focusing on, oh, how terrible am I, how bad am I, I should have practiced more, I should be better, when we look at what we focus on really means a lot. When we focus on someone's beautiful performance, if we're focusing on our own lack of the capacity to do what they do, that's all we're going to see. We're going to see a giant void. We're not going to see a beautiful expression of human creativity. So that's why it's much better to look for the beauty in life, look for the fun in life. How can I experience this with my whole heart in a fashion where I can gain something from it? A lot of people who have a growth mindset, so you just see opportunity everywhere to learn something, to grow, to feel inspired, even the things that you feel disconnected or, they shouldn't be the way they are or whatever. They use inspiration for whatever comes up. Like I could the flies that you probably see circling around me. I use them as the title for a song, Insectoid Metropolis. It's partially to do with my story, The Electric Noir. And it's partially to do with the fact that I have to live with insects all the time because I'm terrible at cleaning. But it's cool because I think maybe the dealing with the flies and all that stuff, the larvae, was the thing that partially inspired my story, where they go into a pocket dimension and there's like insectoids, as I call them. That's what my friend Rob used to call them. He said he had a traumatic experience. My friend Rob, who passed away after saving my life, literally, through CPR. That's a whole other story. But he said that he had an experience where he was abducted by an insectoid or something, which is some kind of like in the lore of that we've created about aliens. It's some kind of alien being that we've categorized and classified. But whatever, right? What I'm really getting at is the subject of intention and the universe at large. If we go to a cosmic scale, I have come to the probably false understanding that in my mind it seems that consciousness is like an energy force, but we don't have much of a way of being able to like measure it to some degree, because we're not able to use certain equipment or whatever to be able to measure it. I mean, we do essentially. We can see the activity of the brain, but not the conscious experience, or like be able to find a calculation for it so that we can replicate it over and over and over again, like computer code or something, right? Maybe that's a really fucking good thing, though, when you think about it. Like, humans, first of all, shouldn't be trusted with nuclear weapons, but the just travesty that they could wreak. I mean, the havoc, the absolute abysmal levels of despair they could, create throughout the cosmos, because they have the ability to, create consciousness and use it for their own profits. That's a scary idea, because you never know. You might be caught into that cycle where they create the exact imprint of your consciousness within the framework of some, machine or some tool in the future, and they use you in a very, like, their idea that you as a consciousness, really want to have some kind of a fulfilling purpose in life or something, or maybe they'll calculate around that or something, or, it's like when I was reading about Doom, video game, it's really kind of disturbing to think of human souls being tormented in a different dimension in order to produce the argent energy that they're trying to harness in order to solve Earth's economic problems. And that is fundamentally disturbing in just a way that is cosmic and unending. And most people don't think about that. They think like, oh, how can I get a combo? How can I, get the high score? They don't look back into the lore and think like, that's messed up. How can people think of that and then like produce that into the world? And like, is it something we truly really have to think about? Maybe, maybe not. We don't need that manifested into the world for some reason. It's kind of like, what I'm getting at as far as intention is I think that the universe is intention. I think Devin Townsend would agree with me that the universe is intention because, and it's the intention of sustaining itself. And that intention, it literally has to exist in order for the universe to exist. If there is going to be any form of life in this vast expanse, this endless, infinite vast expanse, if there's going to be anything, it literally has to have consciousness to perform tasks. And that's why I think that a lot of like bugs and what we consider as lesser beings, lesser consciousness, are really not. Like, they have the same essential conscious experience to some extent as we do in some respects. But I think that if something is awake and can perceive pain and, I mean, a lot of the time, something like my cat is capable of, expressing emotion, expressing more complex things psychologically, but I still think that we are in the weeds, we are in the forest, we are not, in any respect, like, as enlightened as we may hope we are. Like, we think, all the smart people must know a lot of things about existence or whatever. They must have some idea. So I can piggyback off of other people's brilliance when I need to know whether or not we have things figured out. You know, it turns out we really don't. We have like an extremely minute amount of it. Maybe so small it would be imperceivable understanding of what this world really is. For instance, like, not understanding what's in the ocean, that's kind of crazy. It's literally right there. Or no, over there. But, yeah, anyways. It's there, and it's not like it's like Andromeda Galaxy. You can actually get to it, kind of. It's very big, very large. And, you can't really swim down to the bottom of the ocean very easily. It's not ADHD friendly, that's for sure. Maybe that's the wrong. I don't know, anyways. I think personally, I'm coming on to the idea where I'm just like, consciousness itself is that if consciousness is a fundamental energy source in the universe, like it is like an imperceivable, almost like if we're able to perceive ultraviolet light, if we're able to perceive consciousness in any other way other than itself, literally directly experiencing the universe, then we probably understand that it's a fundamental property of the universe, that the universe has to have it in order for it to exist. And I actually think that the force of consciousness, kind of like a magnetic field creates patterns with metals and certain things. I think that consciousness around matter and it being, really one and the same thing, to some extent, is, it's like the beings that inhabit this planet or whatever, or inhabit other planets or solar systems, are kind of like just a magnetic pattern that this planet creates, that the consciousness is the force that creates the patterns, or that aligns everything into the patterns. And the matter is just the kind of the host of the... It's like we are multi-cell beings. Like, we're not just one Jared, right? It's... I'm a collection and, you know, a unison of a lot of pieces of bacteria and living beings coming together to make a community. I'm like my own planet of a collective of beings, right? The people don't understand this really, or maybe they do. Maybe I should give people more credit. But it's like, we're not just one thing. And people, yeah, it's... So, yeah, I don't know what to say other than that. It's kind of a cool understanding, because maybe just the difference between us describing something as being a deity or a multidimensional being or whatever, creator force, it's just the language itself is what we can't agree on. The language is not accurate to, in a finite way, within the confines of language. Do you know what I mean? A lot of things are just kind of a fundamental misunderstanding because we speak different in different ways, and our implied meaning is not carried across because of our adherence to defining certain things. Even the same word 2 towns over is going to be, you know, completely felt differently. Like I have my uncle, he says, like, I don't know why he insists on saying this, but he says, oh, creepy all the time. Sorry, you know who you are. But it's just something that I noticed, and like, that's like my idea of that word in the context that it should be used in. It's totally different from his. And that's interesting. And me trying to understand his intention behind it and the way he's using it without any, in general really, but without, you know, communicating with him. It's never going to go anywhere. So we have to wonder, the more rules that we apply to language, the more rules that we come up with to how we're supposed to speak to each other. How, you know, speak with your heart. Speak with your heart. Speak with your intention. You know, it doesn't matter if you're speaking perfectly, you got the right words, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. No one cares. Speak with your heart. Speak with your passion. If you want to help the world, if you want to be that force to the fullest extent, if you want to be a vessel for the universal force of, like, I know it's new agey, but like maybe it's, if you want to call it God, if you want to say, I want to be the most connected to God so that I can be a vessel that can most efficiently enact the will of God on planet Earth, right? That's a good thing. Like, intend, and I think that comes with acceptance. I think that comes with accepting our flaws and moving past them. Because we are essentially the vessels of consciousness, of God, I guess, if you want to call it that way. I'm trying to bridge the gap between my crazy spiritual ass and, sorry for the swearing, and, you know, maybe perhaps people that I haven't given enough credit to, right? Christians, mostly. I don't know, maybe we can't really ever truly get along because I'm not using the right words, but maybe we already are. I'd like that. I'd like to just get along, you know, because at least then we could just live out our lives and be who we wanted to be, right? We're not trying to it doesn't matter that, like, we're not trying to control each other, right? I think it's great. I think it's great. It's sad that, maybe you think people are heading to oblivion if you don't intervene, but maybe that's just the way it was supposed to be. Acceptance. I think radical acceptance is like life changing. That's faith, in my opinion. Radical acceptance is faith. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. You can absolutely call me out on that. Absolutely call me out on that. But I think it's something like Jesus take the wheel. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to like cut out other religions either when I talk about this, but like, yeah. Anyways, I hope you don't think lesser of me by expressing myself in such a vulnerable capacity. I've been wrong about a lot of things. I think that I have essentially been rude to many people. I've been absolutely dog shit sometimes. Sorry about swearing. But I'm working on it. And the more I could be a vessel to better enact the will of God, or, I mean, in my position, it doesn't really matter what you say. If I didn't have language, the intention behind it all would be really the point, right? So you can have an intention of evil, and even if you didn't have language to describe it, doing good and doing evil without words, right? Without logos, without dictation. You still end up being a decent person to be around, right? And that's what I want to be. I just, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't have it all figured out. Well, I definitely don't have any of it figured out, but I'm willing to collaborate. I'm willing to just be someone that wants to be that conduit, that if it's God, if it's universal love, if it's the efficiency of the universe, understanding that positivity, gratitude, all of that stuff is something that helps everyone grow, right? It helps the universe maintain itself, sustain itself. Anything else will... And that's the thing, like, people think, oh, well, the universe will end. The universe won't end. Maybe Earth might end to some degree, but it's not going to end forever. It's going to essentially, like, life, it will repeat over and over and over again, in my opinion, but maybe it's patterns. Maybe it's the feng shui. I don't know, man. It's cool. It's a groovy thing to just kind of talk about this stuff without really needing to be right about any of it. Yeah, acceptance. Accept that I'm an idiot. Accept that I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. Accept that, I'm sorry, I swear. But, whatever. It doesn't need any of this. Yeah, stay frosty. Maybe that's all it needs. Maybe it needs a catchphrase and gimmick. Maybe that's what it needs. Alright, turn this whole thing. Okay, this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be really cool. I'm saying that it's cool so that I gain your attention and your support, your undying love and devotion. Did I turn this on? No, I didn't. Okay, so piano monologues again. I could call this something, but maybe I think what I'm going to do is essentially take all these talks together and make like a long, almost a podcast out of them, maybe. I'm not sure. Who knows? But, yeah. I have something important to talk about today. Very important. Needs your full attention. But don't, no pressure. That's a bit low on the register. We need something a bit higher. That's better. So, essentially, what the fuck are you doing here? Sorry, I shouldn't swear. But, why are you here? Why are you here? This is my, this is my inner sanctum. This is my lair. This is my jazz, hall of the Mountain King. You know what I'm saying? It's my jazz Moria, and I'm the jazz Balrog. You know the Mines of Moria from Lord of the Rings, or whatever? So, essentially, what I'm trying to say is that I'm wondering if you're still here, if you still are worth your medal, you passed the vibe check. Vibe check? What are you talking about? Oh, well, it's the universe. The universe is giving you a mind check. A mind check. The universe is giving you a mind check. Or a vibe check, sorry. Mind check. Check your mind. Take your meds now. Take your meds. Now. Take your meds. Okay. What are we doing? I love this. Okay. A vibe check. You know what I'm saying? The universe is always giving you a vibe check. It's a never-ending, constant vibe check. And it will punish you if you are dishonest. If you are unable to explain your intention right away, and just come across like straight up. You know, the world is like a wolf or something that is prowling around, and it sees something that is maybe it doesn't know if it's an equal adversary, a rival, or something that is above. So he, you know, like anything, you test the waters. And a lot of the time, the universe will provoke you. It'll prod you, like I tried to very haphazardly when I asked you, what the fuck are you doing in my Jazz Moria, Jazz Hall of the Mountain King or whatever, which is a cool song. And that's a vibe check. It's testing the water. Because I think we really do need to have some form, like normalized vibe checks, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they already are. Maybe I'm just like slow on the uptake, like I am with everything. But I think if like, okay, so let's say, this, I was watching this video of, it's like how fast New Yorkers make friends. And it was really just watching them have like that confrontation, that vibe check. Like, who the fuck are you? Why are you here? You're new? Well, I want to find out what the fuck you're made of, right? Because I don't have the time. I don't have the kind of time. If this is serious stuff, like I don't have the meadow to play in. I don't have, I'm not, like my life, I don't live in a paradise. This is a serious place, right? So I have to figure out if someone's going to be like dangerous to me, my friends, to the community at large. I have to find out pretty quick. I have to confront this motherfucker. And it's not personal. It's not like, oh, it's not like, oh, I hated this person from the get-go. It has nothing to do with personal. It's just literally just a formality, right? In some places. Some people just like, they need to gauge your real reaction, not your fucking, not your like performative, social faux pas, fake persona reaction. Like how you are gonna react in the face of realness, in the face of danger. Right? So that's a vibe check. You know, you think that you're gonna go to a place like, let's say Baltimore or something like that, and people are just gonna be like, oh yeah, this is a really wonderful neighborhood. There's absolutely no danger here, and they're gonna wave at you. You know, and this is bullshit, by the way. They're gonna wave at you. They're gonna be like, hey neighbor, how's it going? Wonderful neighborhood, wonderful day today. It's like, yeah, unfortunately, the reality of it is that there's some like shady motherfuckers around, especially in places like that. And it's not like you're gonna change it by saying, oh well, we should just all be friends and people should just be nicer to each other. It's not gonna do shit. So I think it's just good to have like, to shock people and to gauge them, benchmark them. It's like, because you need to know in times of crisis who you are going to run to, or who you're going to run away from, really, right? Right. So sometimes it's just about formalities and just figuring out how to find people that can, I think it's just about as it is about positivity as much as it is about negativity, because it's not really, it's kind of neutral, but it comes across as being negative. So essentially, if you can understand what I'm saying, it's not about you, it's about the greater community. It's about like, and really the cure to any vibe check, I'll give you the secret on how to pass any cosmic vibe check. And that's to be honest. That's to just be transparent, honest, and just state your intention. State your intention, live your intention, embody your intention, and be chill, right? And you know, it makes, like, some people just can't do that. They're incapable of doing that. And those are the people that fail the vibe check. And there's nothing that's going to help them pass the vibe check, because they're not built like that, right? Just sad, but yeah, who cares, right? People are gonna use you, they're gonna destroy you, and that's what you're fighting against. So it's impartial, it's neutral, really. Just don't dwell on it, really. Really, like, and that's what the universe does. Any living being, any ecosystem, any force beyond our understanding. That's why I think a lot of Christians say it's like life is a test. This is a test, or it's kind of is, but like, I think your number one priority is to honest. You become as efficient at being who you are as possible, which, you know, maybe that's a hard thing to wrap your head around, and just because I said it or whatever. But the world is going in that direction. I think it's just a matter of time before people have a really epic awakening. I think that's how life is going. That's a cool part. Anyways, vibe check aside, how are you feeling tonight? How are you feeling tonight? If you can tell me in the comments below, then that's cool. I mean, you don't have to. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I think I went through kind of the Dante's Inferno Ninth Circle of Hell part of my own personal struggle with depression. I don't know if this is possible for anyone else who suffers from this, but that's how maybe that's how I'm putting it right now, because I want so desperately to be through with it. I don't know. I'm not gonna say this is a miracle, sure, because it just isn't. But like, the way I view it is that I see that life is really it's pretty clinical when you think about it. But understanding that, and going past that, and going like, oh, okay, so the world is really, it rewards people in ways that don't really make themselves known. For being honest, for being straightforward, for giving people your intention. It is rewarding. And I think we have a lot more creativity and power over our ability to decide what we want from the universe. Do you want control? That is, oh my god, I just thought of something. It's kind of like if you've ever played Twisted Metal. What's another one? Rumpelstiltskin. I think he's in Shrek 4, but older people probably know what I'm talking about. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's too old. Rumpelstiltskin would give you a wish, do a deal with you, and, there'd always be a catch, or whatever. So, like, I think sometimes, through negativity, if you have an intention of harming the world or yourself or others or whatever, for the most part, then, what you wish, what you ask for from the universe will always come with a price, or like a tag on it, I think. Or, not a tag, but like a conditions. And everything has conditions, but, I think it's a good idea to just, like, to stop and say, what do I want from the universe? The best thing in my mind, and I'll say it a million times over until people truly understand the gravity of it, is acceptance. Acceptance led me to think about, like, oh, so if I'm straightforward, I don't have a reaction, I'm not, like, completely lost in this egotistical game of trying to, I don't know, control everything and make everything a specific way or whatever. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I just think it's awesome when you think about if I'm the type of person who's chosen the right way to act or the right side of life to choose, then I feel that's enough to celebrate, right? that's just like, that's cool with me. I don't know. Probably think I'm crazy, I'm tripping. Maybe not, maybe like this is hitting home for you. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm not trying to like, there's like I think sometimes the problem is for a lot of people is like, if you actually are a decent person, like a really true blue, like, amazing person, like if you are cool, like a lot of the time, people are gonna, when they're first meeting you, they're gonna question in like bipolar opposites. You're either the coolest motherfucker they've ever met, or you're like super genius.